How's everybody doing? Welcome back to the channel. I hope you like and subscribe to the channel. This is a story about Shell Creek Park. Some fun in Shell Creek Park. I know most of my videos are centered around leading youth in the right direction, preventing youth and adults from the negative lifestyle and becoming incarcerated. That's what I try and do in my videos, persuade people. Once in a while, I tell a war story because that it is a reality of prison, but I do not center my channel around that. But this is a story of pre-incarceration. This is a story that goes back to when I'm about 20 years old, and one of the crazy stories that led to me not being incarcerated, but just one of the wild stories throughout my life. Uh, for those of you that don't know, I'm a dog guy. I've been a dog guy most of my life. At the age of 13, I met a man who trained dogs for Vietnam, an older gentleman. He trained war dogs. He was very serious. I was friends with his son. That's how I met him. And I started as an agitator wearing the bite suits for very serious dogs, mostly German Shepherds, Belgian Shepherds, Dutch Shepherds, Rottweilers, Bouviers, Mastiffs, and I went on to train many, many dogs in my life. I've trained them for explosive detection. I've trained them for wounded war veterans. I've sent dogs to Afghanistan. I've worked in animal hospitals. I worked on training kennels. I had a lot of exposure to serious dogs, training them in a method called Schutzhund, which means protection dog. And that was mostly the dogs that I worked with, dogs that were trained for law enforcement, military, personal protection. When I went into the prison system, I they found out about this experience, and I went into PBB, which is puppies behind bars. That's where I trained dogs to undress people, to turn on lights, to open doors for wounded war veterans, and did some more EDC, explosive detection work. And since my release from prison, I've trained well over 100 dogs in basic obedience for customers. I did it for a living for a while. This is why I have 6 dogs of my own. I am a dog lover, man. I love dogs more than people, as you hear often many people say. So this story is centered around a dog, and that's why I bring it up. Uh, it was I was about 20 years old, and I decided to go down to Shell Creek Park to play some basketball. I love playing ball on the street. I always played ball growing up in juvenile detention centers and group homes and stuff like that. I played ball. So I said, let me walk down to the park, summertime, and play a game of ball down there. So I walk down to Shell Creek Park, and when I get there, there's three guys on the court playing basketball, and oh, so wait, let me back up a minute. Let me back up a minute. I go home to my apartment, and just one day coming back from the store, and I go to walk into my apartment, and there's a crazy, crazy Rottweiler in my yard. He won't let me in my yard. He's going nuts. Rah, 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 rah. But what? There's a note on my door that says, Joey, this is Quai. Watch him while I go away. And it came from my buddy that used to train the war dogs, right? So this dog won't let me in my yard. I have to go to a payphone. No cell phones back then. So I go to a payphone and call him, and I'm like, "Yo, listen, this dog won't even let me in the yard." He says, Fish, don't worry about it. The dog is bluffing. He's not gonna bite you. He said he's a police dog, a former police dog from Germany. He says he's fully trained. He said, but he won't bite you, man. He's bluffing. Don't worry about it. I said, listen, I have a female Rottweiler in my apartment. He says he's dog friendly. Don't worry. So I go back to the house, and I'm real intimidated by this dog because he's showing signs of aggression. But I open my yard and I walk into the yard, and without looking at the dog, put the key in the door. And the first thing I do when I walk into my house is take a baseball bat, God forbid, and just put it next to the chair, and I sit down in the chair. This dog walks over to the kitchen, lifts his leg, pees in the kitchen like he owns the place already, goes and smells my female Rottweiler, doesn't bother her, and just lays down in the corner. Just lays down in the corner like nothing. So I says, all right, at least he's not attacking me. This is a good sign. And this goes on for the course of the evening, and then it's time to feed the dog. So I put some food in a bowl and put it down on the floor. The dog goes and eats, And after he's done eating, I said, let me take him for a walk. And I grabbed the leash and I call him over to me. Quiet, Fuss. The dog only understands German, doesn't know any English at all. He was in the German police department for several years. At this time, he was 6 years old. And my buddy picked him up to breed him. That's how he got his hands on him. He was going to breed him. And I call him Quiet, Fuss. And the dog growls at me. Shows me his canines. I'm like, all right. I try and push my luck a little. I walk a little closer. Quiet, let's go. Foos. Right? I said, well, okay, okay. Right. So I open my yard. I let the dog out in the yard because I'm not sleeping in the house with that dog. He's staying out in the yard all night. And that's what I do. I leave him out in the yard all night. And in the morning, I open the door and he comes walking in the house. And, he's fine. He just lays down in the living room. This goes on for a few days. And during the course of the few days, I've never physically touched the dog. He won't let me near him, but he's not bothering me and he's not bothering my other dog, which is good. You know what I mean? But I could tell he's very serious. I said, let me see if he'll listen to a command, and said, quiet, siats, means sit down. I said, oh, not yet, not yet. You know what I mean? This dog won't go for it yet. And that goes on for a few more days too. This dog just won't respond to me at all. And then I'll never forget, I was sitting in the living room watching some TV after about a week, and the dog just came. Quiet just walked over to me and put his head right in my lap as I was sitting on the couch. And I never, it's the first time of having physical touch with the dog. And I said, wow, look at this. And so I'm petting his head. He's all right. And I said, let me push my luck a little bit. This is why, I try this. And I mush him a little. What are you doing, buddy? What are you doing? And he brings his head back, against me. He's rubbing his head against me. And 5 minutes later, I'm on the floor with this dog wrestling, biting his face, rah, 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 punching him, boom, boom, playing with him. The dog loves it. He became my dog. It took about a week. And I jump up, I tell him, quiet, sits, boom, he sits. Quiet, plats, boom, he lays down. Foos, boom, runs to my feet like a machine. I said, wow, this dog is responsive, fast. There's a very big difference between a professionally trained law enforcement dog than the average household pet, or even being trained by someone who knows a little training. This dog was trained by the best of the best. He is a $10,000 dog, and he has immaculate training in him. And this dog became mine, right? He started listening to me really good. And now I'm taking him out for walks. I'm bonding with him. I'm feeding with him. I even about a week later do some bite work with him. I have my buddy come over, put on the bite suit, you know what I mean? Play the agitator, and I'm sicking the dog on him. Pack in, the dog's ripping him up. Ouch, let's go. Like a beautiful, amazing. One of the best dogs I had gotten my hands on. And I was doing bite work with Belgian Shepherds, Dutch Shepherds, Rottweilers, Pit Bulls, Bull Mastiffs, you name it. This dog was good. And there's a big difference between a German Rottweiler and an American Rottweiler. Americans concentrate on like breeding show dogs that look really good, where Germans concentrate on breeding dogs what they were originally bred to do. You know what I mean? German Rottweilers are harder. Their body is harder. Their hair is drier. They're not as shiny. Their heads are a little bigger. Their body is much more muscular than an American Rottweiler. He was serious. Quai was serious. And so I had him for a few weeks. He was doing great. And then, as I said, one day I'm going down to the park to play some ball. I'm going down to Shell Creek Park to play some ball. And when I get there, there's 3 guys on the court playing. And I said, listen, you guys want to get a little 2-on-2? No problem. Let's start playing. And we start playing ball. As I said, I love playing ball. I played, through my whole youth. And as we're playing, I'm schooling these guys. They get, my teammate is loving it, but the 2 dudes we're playing against, they're not feeling it too much. I think they were a little tight, And so as I go up for a layup, the dude pushes me against the fence. Like hard, unnecessarily, like he's playing in jail, like he's playing jail ball. So I don't say nothing to him. I just say to myself, all right, these guys want to play rough, we'll play rough. You know what I mean? And I keep balling. And I know why he's doing it. And he's doing it because I'm a 5'7" white guy. And he's got a complex. You know what I mean? These brothers are getting upset that I could play better ball than them, and so they're getting tight, and then it's a few minutes later, I keep balling and I'm going for another shot. And the dude throws an elbow at me. And when he throws the elbow at me, I spin around and I tell the dude, what's up, motherfucker? Let's go. But all 3 of them want to fight me. And so I say, your man is the one getting tough with me. Let's get a one-on-one. All three of you want to fight me, but all three of them are backing me down, right? So I know I'm in a no-win situation because of this. I'm not going to fight three athletic dudes at the same time. I'm going to get hurt, so I start backing up, and they're backing me up off the court. So I said, no problem. You got it. That's all right. No problem. You got it. And I leave. I walk off the court and I walk home. And when I get to my house, my buddy Bo was there. My buddy Bo had slept over. He was sleeping on the couch. So I had to leave Kwai in the yard because I couldn't leave Kwai in the house with. What's up? I tell him what happened in the park. I said, listen, I'm down there. I said, these dudes started beefing with me. He said, yo, let's go back to the park, man. He said, let's go. He says, grab Kwai. Come on. I said, fuck it. Let's go. Let's go. So I take Kwai and I bring him out to the car. I open the trunk, jumps in the trunk, right? The reason he jumped in the trunk is I didn't notice. I had originally tried to put Kwai in the back seat of my car days earlier, but the dog refused to get in the car. He wouldn't let me put him in there. And when I called my buddy, he said, listen, German dogs travel in the trunk of the car. So I opened the trunk. He jumped right in without even being told. I shut the trunk and Bo jumps in the passenger seat and I drive to the park. And when I get there, I just slip into the parking spot, take the dog out of the trunk, start walking in the park. And there's like a park employee by the front gate. And he says, no dogs allowed, sir. But I just keep stepping. He says, sir, no dogs allowed, no dogs allowed. And as I keep walking, he's like, sir, I'm going to call the police. I said, go ahead, you're about to need them, right? So I walk onto the basketball court. When we come around the bushes to the basketball court, the guys see us coming. But there's only two of them there. One of them must have left because only two of the guys are still there. So as we're approaching, Bo says to me, yo, which is the guy that hit you? Which is the guy that pushed you? And I remember he had some pink shorts on, like some jams that went down to the knees. I said, the dude in the pink. He says, I'm going to take the dude in the pink. He says, you take the muscle guy. There was a guy who had a little muscle. He said, you take the muscle guy with Kwai. And then we come onto the court and they're approaching us like they're coming for the beef. And I don't know what this dude was thinking. He was looking at Bo like he was some type of sucker or like we were coming to talk, because the dude in the pink shorts walked right up to Bo with his hands down, and Bo just claps him, bang, and puts him down, and Bo starts fucking this guy up. The other guy is coming towards me, and I tell Kwai, Platz, Platz. Platz means lay down. And I stand in front of the dog in a fighting stance. Let's go, right? You want the dog behind you. See, if you don't want to stand next to the dog, you don't want to stand behind the dog, because then the dog has to look back to see what's going on. You want to be in front of the dog. You make the dog lay down, then you take a step in front of him so the dog can see the whole scenario that's taking place. And the guy is running towards me. He runs around me to go punch the dog in the face. He says, what, you're going to bring your fucking dog? And just as he comes down, I tell Kwai, pack in! And boom, gets him right on the forearm, and it was over. The blood is coming out immediately. The dog's got his forearm. He's screaming, get him off, and he's punching Kwai in the face as hard as he can. Get him off, right? Kwai, I said, wow, this dog is hurting him. So I pull the guy's legs out from under him, get him on the floor. I give him a few kicks to the face, a few punches to the face, tell him, what's up now, motherfucker? What's up, right? Bo's got the other guy in the corner twisting him up. He can't handle Bo. And I said, wow, Kwai is hurting him, man. Like, I got to get this dog off him. And I say, out! And the dog just let go instantaneously in the middle of an attack. Lets go, runs behind me, and sits right next to my left leg and looks up at me like, what's next, right? And so at this point, people see what's going on, and they're starting to run out of the park. This is a big park. There's mothers grabbing their kids and running out of the park, right? It's like pandemonium. There's some chaos, And now the guy, I called the dog off him. He's holding his arm, and he goes over to a chain link fence. He's holding on to the chain link fence. I'm so pumped up, I send Kwai again. Back in, right? And the dog is running towards him. And as he's on the fence, anytime I told this story, I said it was like a movie scene, because he sees Kwai coming, and as he's on the fence, he goes, no! And bang! Kwai gets him by the hamstring, man. Rips him off of the fence. This guy's about 170, 180 pounds, and this dog is throwing him around on the floor, shaking him. His whole body is thrailing back and forth. I said, this dog is really, really going to kill him, man. So, house! And then fucking Kwai lets go again, comes and sits next to it. I said, it's time to get out of here, right? Voligan! Boom, the dog, me and Bo run out of the park. I open the trunk to the car, The dog jumps in the trunk. I jump in the Nova, peel out, and take off out of the park. So I get about 1 block away. My friend Freddie lives about a block away. So I'm beeping the horn in front of Freddie's house. And Freddie comes out. He says, "What's up?" I said, "Yo, I'm going to put Quiet in your yard for a minute." He's like, "No, no, no, no." Because he knows Quiet over the fence in the yard. And then I take off into the park and I go home. Right. And so it takes about 2 or 3 hours when I'm in the house. There's a knock on the door. Boom, boom, boom. "Who is it?" "Police department, open up." I said, "You got a warrant?" They said, "Listen, Joey, open the door. We want to talk to you." Fuck it. I opened the door. "What's happening?" They said, "Where's the dog?" "What dog? What are you talking about?" They said, "Joey, we know it was you, right? You put the dog on someone in the park." He said, "I'm going to give you the good news and the bad news." I said, "What's up?" They said, "Both of these guys," they said, "don't want no drama. They're both on parole. So they don't want any interaction with the police or law enforcement or nothing." So I says, "All right." So he says, "You're not going to jail, but you got to give up that dog, man. That dog's got to go right now." So I said, "Listen," I says, "the dog's not here. I don't have the dog here." I says, "I dropped him off at my buddy's house and I told him to hide him." I said, "It's going to take me like an hour to get the dog back." They said, "Joey, we're coming back for that dog. If you don't have that dog," they said, "you're going to be arrested for assault." You understand? I said, "All right, I got you. I got you. Give me an hour. And so the cops leave. And when they leave, I call my godfather, Joey, right? I hadn't spoken to him for years, but my godfather runs the local animal shelter, right? I told you I'm always involved with dogs. So I called Joey and I said, "Listen, Joey, I got a problem. This is what's up." And I tell him about the incident. So he said, "Listen, I just got a call from the police department that I'm going to have to go impound the dog." So I said, "That's me, Joey. That's me." So he says, "All right, listen, come see me right now." So I shoot over to the animal shelter and he gives me a dog that's like 40 pounds. It looked like it had half Rottweiler in it. He gives me like a 40-pound half Rottweiler, half mutt. I don't know what this thing was. And I picked the dog up from him and bring it home. So I got this dog in my house now. And about 45 minutes later, he shows up with the police like he doesn't even know me. The police knock on my door. "How are you?" They said, "Listen, you got the dog?" I said, "Yes, I got the dog." And I hand Joey the dog he had given me 45 minutes earlier. Even the cops looked at this dog. They're like, "This is the dog? Come on." I said, "That's the dog, sir. That's the dog. I'm sorry." You know what I mean? So Joey's handling the dog like he's scared of it and taking care of it. And he takes the dog, brings it to the shelter and for adoption. And that was a wrap. That was the story. So those dudes learned to be nice to people on the basketball court. And they probably learned to be careful around dogs. They wanted to play and they paid the price, man. They wanted to play. So that was the dog of the story of Kwai. I remember when my man came back from Germany, he had to take Kwai back away from me. I told him, "Let me keep this dog. I love this dog. This dog is like having a loaded 357 Magnum, man." He said, "You want this dog?" He said, "You got to give me $5,000. The dog was worth more than that." He said, "You have to give me $5,000 and then agree that I can breed to him when I need to breed to him." I didn't have the $5,000 at the time, right? So I really love that dog. Quiet was a good dog. That was the Shell Creek Park fun story.